Okay, so I have a bit of a rant that I have to get over and done with, and then we are going to talk about the things that I liked, because I liked a lot of things with this movie. And we're going to talk spoilers, so if you don't want to hear my rant, I completely understand. Feel free to skip, I'll put the timestamp down below. So here's the thing. Now and then we get a movie that is particularly, I don't want to say divisive, because I feel like I'm genuinely like the only person I've seen pretty much that hasn't completely loved this movie. So I know I'm in the minority here. But now and then there's these movies that really stir up passion, let's say, in people, where it's like you have to agree that this is a masterpiece or else you are just completely wrong, and they can't just disagree. And I'm all for people disagreeing. I actually enjoy it. Not in the way that I enjoy fighting, but I like hearing differing opinions. And sometimes it actually does make me see things in a different light. But it's never like that these days. They have to be super angry to the point I genuinely think they might actually have some mental problems if you're getting this angry over a random person on the internet having an opinion about a movie that's different to you. And here's the thing. I've said multiple times I really liked this movie. I actually think it's one of the best movies of the year. But that's not enough for people, because I also said that I also think it's a bit overhyped. I never said it was bad, just overhyped. And yes, cliche, be careful what you wish for. Possession, yes, with a supernatural twist. I've seen that before. Misery, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Invisible Man, The Phantom of the Opera. There's so many movies dealing with obsession that are done well, but people are acting like this is the first movie to ever be made in the whole history of cinema to ever have themes of obsession and supernatural twist to it. I mean, there's that episode of Supernatural which was basically very similar. Well, the girl didn't go crazy, but still. And Wish Upon, that movie was awful. This is a million times better. But my point is, we have seen it before, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this is a really well done movie from a very talented director. Yet just saying it's cliche has people so up in arms. Like, why is cliche a bad thing if you enjoy the trope? And I do. The whole obsession, stalker, you know, those movies were a dime a dozen back in the 90s. The whole sleeping with the enemy, or like Jennifer Lopez is enough. There's so many movies with those themes and I love them. So I really enjoyed this movie. But that's not enough, I guess. It feels like every movie these days is a cultural, social battleground. We can't just get lost in something and have escapism. We have to fight over everything. And it just feels like people are living in an echo chamber in the movie community and a lot of other communities where they just want to have their opinions validated. And I could put up reviews for everything saying this is amazing, and I get a whole lot more engagement, more likes when I do that by far. But I'm someone who wants to tell the truth, even if it's not the truth as you see it. It's still my honest opinion, but people don't seem to want that anymore. So when people complain, there's so many shills that say everything is amazing, everything is a masterpiece. These days I sort of like think, okay, well, don't you want that to a degree? You want to have your opinions validated? But I will never do that. That's not who I am. So yes, obsession, themes of obsession are one of the most predominant cinematic tropes in history, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a fresh take on it. Never said this wasn't different to a degree. Also has a lot of cliches in it, yet it's still entertaining. And let's be honest, these days you can't really do anything 100% new and fresh. I mean, that's a really hard thing to do. Every idea's basically been taken in some form. But yeah, to get this upset, I say it as I'm getting upset, but like, some of the comments, like honestly, I'm not joking. I think these people might have actual genuine mental problems. They're so angry. I just feel like, go touch grass. These are movies. We don't need to agree. It would be a boring world if we all agreed 100%. And unfortunately, even other reviewers I've seen, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen them have that same mindset. like with the movie Oppenheimer, quite a few people were like, if you disagree, you're wrong. Even going as far as to saying to their followers, you're stupid for not agreeing, you just don't get the movie. Like, that is such a toxic thing to say to people who invest their time into your channel. People having different opinions does not diminish your ability to enjoy a movie or TV show. Rant over. Let's talk about the good. Okay, so feel free to let me know down below what you guys thought of the movie. I'd really like to know your opinions. If you're civil, who am I kidding? It's the internet. I could say the sky is blue. Someone will disagree with me. Okay, so like I said, this is one of my favorite horrors of the year. Hokum is my absolute favorite. I would say Passenger, that's one I'm really excited for. I love the director. He did like the autopsy of Jane Doe, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Both fantastic movies, so I can't wait to see what he does with this. So I'll have my review up for that next week. Look out for that. So feel free to subscribe, all of that stuff. It really helps my channel. Okay, so one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie is how fun it was to see with the crowd. The guys sitting around me were all just freaking out so much and giving their commentary, and normally that would annoy me. But in this movie, it works so well, just hearing everybody just so nervous, like not scared, but like unsettled. Like they were making their comments like, get out of there, run. Like, and I had to agree with them, but we'll talk about that later. Like this guy should have left so much earlier than he did. But the director, Kari Barker, he's definitely one to watch. So he's going to be writing and directing the new reimagining of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for A24, and it's going to be more focused on the family, Leatherface's family, and he says it's going to have like a wrong turn sort of scenario, which I love. That first movie was so good. The second was okay. It sort of went downhill dramatically after that. And he says he's going to give it heart. He wants to have characters that you actually care about seeing survive. So that sounds spot on to what I wanted to see from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre universe. So definitely excited to see what he brings to the table. So the actress that played Nikki did a great job. I liked that they had different ways of making her unsettling that didn't lean into the typical possession tropes of bone cracking, crawling, like we had her face hidden in the shadows and the creepy movements. It was really effectively done. So I thought it was so well done how they had the girl talk in her sleep, like the real version of her. And she was saying, you know, reminding him, this isn't me. It's almost like he'd fooled himself even at that point into thinking part of it really was her responding to him that way. And it sort of reminded the audience, this guy isn't the victim. He does not deserve sympathy. He magically roofied and assaulted this girl and essentially made her his slave. This guy was the worst. I mean, he put her under this curse and then she starts to hurt herself with this glass bottle quite severely, and he just sits there and does nothing. Okay, so at the very beginning of the movie, when he's dropping her home, she says to him, if there's something you want to say to me, say it now. And it seems like he actually had a shot with her, but he didn't take it. And then later on, it was weird that everyone was acting like it was so abnormal for her to be interested in him if he had a shot. So I feel like the movie could have just lent straight into him being friend-zoned a little more clearly. That would make everything that happened a little more clear, like that this was obviously an abnormal situation, but it felt like the movie was trying to sell it as he did have a chance, but then why is everyone acting like, wow, this is so weird? Okay, so this girl cooks his cat and feeds it to him in a sandwich and he still does not leave. Okay, so you would think maybe he's doing that because he has a responsibility. As someone, I forget who stated in the movie, she's your responsibility. But it felt like he stayed for selfish reasons. Then she locks him in the house. He still doesn't leave. Then he decides to flirt with another girl while his magical slave is acting crazy and feeding him cats, and he thinks that's a good idea. So he gets the other girl killed because basically it's all his fault. I mean, she isn't in control of herself, so imagine the guilt she has to live with upon realizing that someone who was in her circle of friends she killed. So she probably ended up in jail after that. So does he think at this point of time, this is the point where you should leave? No, he helps her bury the body. Okay, so a lot of people don't agree with this, but I did not find this movie genuinely scary. Was it creepy, unsettling? Absolutely. I loved the atmosphere, the tension, but so many people are saying it's terrifying. No, it's not. And it doesn't need to be. This movie wasn't aiming to be that sort of scary possession movie. It worked for the tone of the movie. So the third act was hyped up so much. It was like mind-blowing, disturbing, the most shocking thing you'll ever see. I heard those sort of statements over and over again. Was it satisfying? Yes, but it wasn't that amazing. So basically we have this guy swallowing some pills and it's not really clear if it's for selfish reasons because he just wants it to be over or if he's actually trying to do the right thing by Nikki and, well, you know, it's the only way to free her at this point. So we have Nikki then place a curse wish upon him to make him love her, and just as it starts to take effect, the pills kick in, he dies, Nikki is free from the curse and starts to scream, realizing what's been done to her. And you can see from the way she just shoves his body off her lap, like, yeah, she hates him, which she obviously would. So it was satisfying, but it wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So 7.5 out of 10, I stand by that. That is a rating I think is fair. But if you feel differently, feel free to let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in another video.